Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the all-new Lexus RZ. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the large mailer Lexus here in Murray, Utah, for giving me some time with this RZ. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check what they have currently. If you guys are wondering, this particular RZ is a demo car, so if you want to come and drive the new RZ before you order one, then they have this here for you. And then as always, on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. The Lexus RZ has a 71.4 kilowatt hour battery pack and a dual electric motor setup. With this setup, this car is able to get 220 miles on a full charge, and then power outputs are 313 horsepower and then 320 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Starting with the hood, I think the design is really cool. Notice you've got like these lines here at the top and then they come down below, just really sharp overall. So taking a look at the daytime running lights, those are also really cool. Obviously they mimic the Lexus logo, and you can see the LED light. And then look at the gray trim right here. And then notice how the front end mostly closed off because fully electric. You got the Lexus logo with the camera there above the logo. And putting it all together, the front end basically just looks like what you'd expect from like an electrified RX front end. Now, coming around the side here, tire wheel setup is 235/60/18 on the front and over in the rear as well. And you guys can see how the wheels are mostly closed off for aerodynamic efficiency. You can also get 20-inch wheels with this car, but that does decrease the range down to 196 miles for a single charge. The fender flares on this are very unique. And you guys can see the mirror cap here, and then notice the door handles also darker with the coloration. And then here's a charging port for the RZ, as you can see, and it does happen to have fast charging as well, for those of you wondering. And then here's our full side view on the RZ. Let me know what you guys think about the side style. Now here's our key fob for the RZ. You guys can see we've got our lock function or unlock. We've got the opening here for the hatch, and then you've got your Lexus logo there in the back. Now popping into the rear, you guys can see we've got the cargo cover built in from the factory, and then look at the storage space here in the back as well. Really solid overall. And when you're all done, just press that button right there and that will lower the hatch right back down. Now the taillight design here on the RZ is definitely unique, that is for sure. You get the Lexus logo down the center as well. And then notice how we have our RZ 450E Direct 4 badge. And wrapping things up, again, to me it looks like just like a futuristic looking RX, but let me know what you guys think about the overall design. I mean, like, look at the back end of this, and then look at the back end of the RX. Very similar. Now taking a look at the door panel here in the rear, you guys can see the padding and then also down below. This has the electronic door handles just like what you have in the new NX and RX. And you get your little window control as well. And then here is the back seat. You guys can see perforated all down the center portion. And then legroom back here is actually really solid. We've got a storage pocket here in the rear. We've got some vents, USB action, and then another little charging port. And then headroom back here is also really good. And a couple more things. We've got, of course, cup holder armrest. And then I like how there's actually glass above us, so we get a little bit of more of an open feel. Now taking a look at the front door panel here, you guys can see again, we've got the two-tone coloration, and we've got the electronic popper, all of our window controls, and then you got your mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in, and they also have blind spot monitoring. And then here's the front seat. Notice perforated all down the center portion. I like the black here on the side too. I think that's pretty cool. And then we have our power adjustments here on the side. Memory seat function, and then the steering wheel itself is power adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, I really like the trim all around. You can see the paddle shifters here on the back. We'll go over that more in the driving portion. And we got some controls here for the heads-up display, just like the new RX. And then you guys can see we've got our regular stocks here on the back as well. Now taking a look at the center gauge cluster here, I think the overall design is pretty cool. And then notice it lets us know like how much charge we have. So we have 95 miles of range right there. And then obviously it also shows right here kind of like a gas gauge, which I think is kind of cool. I like how it's like a gas thing, but like with a plug. That's kind of interesting, that is for sure. And then I almost forgot to mention, we do have some different modes. So we've got an eco mode, we've got a custom mode, a sport mode, which makes things red and aggressive. Now this is funny, we have a range mode. And so I find it interesting because like you think eco mode would kind of be a range mode, but like there's a difference. There's eco mode and then there is range mode. And then just like the new Lexus RX, a lot of stuff is controlled here with the heads-up display. So you can see the little things we can scroll through, like with the cruise control, and then with different functions with the phone, voice command controls, everything like that. Now this does have a full 360 camera system. You can see you've got trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel as well, and resolution's so pretty solid. Now as for the rest of the infotainment screen, you guys can see we've got like our drive mode select over here. So it says 118 miles in range mode, and then once you take it out, 95 miles. That's interesting, it completely changes. But anyways, we've got all these different menus we can scroll through. I think response time on the screen is pretty dang solid. And then you've got your, like, not buttons, but like this is always up here at the bottom with your heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, and then also with the climate controls as well. Got a little button there for the parking assist, camera setup, and then you guys can see with the USB ports, wireless phone charging pad as well. And I got some cup holder action here, and then you can see with our auto hold, parking brake, and then stability control. And then this right here is actually to go into gear, so it's a little twisty thing, which is kind of fun. Button for park, by the way. And then here's the center console, good storage space. I do like the color here on the trim on the top. I think that looks very sharp. And then look at the trim here, by the way. It goes across, and then you can see with the vent as well. And then, actually, I was gonna say, no glove box. That's interesting. Yeah, there's nothing there. And then up top we do have the rear view camera mirror, and then we got more glass at the top as well. Now here's our window sticker. You guys can see 2023 and all the standard equipment on this one. Base MSRP, there's a few options added to it. And there's your total MSRP, $62,190. And then here's the charging time, by the way, 10 hours, 220 for the range. Anyways, let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility of the hood, and hopefully you can now see the heads-up display. Both the mirrors do blind spot monitoring and throughout the rest of the rear. And, well, let us set off. Also, I do like the steering wheel. So this feels like the synthetic, manufacturers call it like the synthetic leather or whatever. That a lot of manufacturers are doing, some hybrids nowadays, and then EVs as well. Vegan leather, that's probably the term that I'm looking for. But I do like the feel. Like it has, it's hard to explain. Like you have to feel this in person. It's like, it's kind of like smoother than leather in a sense. I don't know. I think it's very, very interesting. That is for sure. But the rest of the surfaces, these feel more like normal Lexus. It's just the steering wheel actually. Yeah, because the seats do also kind of feel normal Lexus. That's interesting. Now, what's not normal Lexus is the fact this is fully electric. That is a different experience than I'm used to with Lexus, because used to hybrids and, sometimes V8s. It's so smooth, though. It's really quiet, too. So you guys can see with the paddles, that is for the regen. So if I do this, this is like no regen. If I do this, it's like really aggressive regen. But so I guess minus is more regen and plus is less regen, which kind of counterintuitive to an extent, but no big deal, honestly. Yeah, I will say more regen just always makes sense with electric cars, because that's just how I feel like they want to be driven. Really good power though. I mean, just like most electric cars, like just instant torque, super smooth. I mean, so far, I do think that this still kind of lives up to the normal Lexus ethos. So we're going to be going over the train tracks here. And suspension does really well. It makes a cool sound! Listen to that! Now, this isn't like insanely fast in terms of electric cars, but it's more than enough acceleration. And I mean, I just drove the Lexus RX 500h the other day, and that thing's a monster. I really do like that car a lot. And when I say monster, I mean like in terms of the acceleration and everything, it's pretty crazy. Because the RZ is fully electric, it does feel punchy right off the bat. But I do imagine, since this has less horsepower than the 500h at the top end, this wouldn't be pulling quite as hard. Sounds so cool though. I don't know, let me know what you guys think about when car makers give electric cars sounds, but I think they need something, right? Because it's weird when you accelerate and there's just nothing there. So when it comes to driving, I think Lexus did a phenomenal job for an electric car. I think that this drives really well. It looks like I'm about to get stuck up here. Oh boy. Anyways, I think this drives exceptionally well. I actually like the exterior styling. It is out there for sure, but I do think that it looks pretty good overall. And then, you know, aside from that, I think the only thing that people might have some irk about is just the range on it. You know, again, with the 20s having less than 200 miles of range, and with this just over 200 miles of range, I mean, there's a lot of electric cars out there now that have, you know, over 300 miles of range. Some even have over 400 miles of range now. But I think that this is more of, this is just my guess, I think this is more of like Lexus, like testing the electric side of things first. And obviously this is, you know, co-developed with, because you've got the Toyota version, the BZ4X, and you have the Subaru version, the Solterra. I think this is just them kind of like dipping their toes in the water, kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't work. And so I imagine the next EV we see from Lexus is probably going to have it's probably going to have more power. It's going to have much more range. But still, let me know what you guys think about the RZ. Let me know if you think that this still like lives up to the Lexus ethos.